Okay, they say the worst day of fishing is better than the best day of work. Would you agree with that?
Ooh.
You're a fishing guy.
I love fishing.
Tell me about like what that is to you in your life.
Yeah, I've had some pretty bad days fishing.
Okay.
But I have a really cool job too. So for me, that's kind of it's a double-edged sword.
Sure.
Fishing to me, it's what I do. Like it's honestly like probably my first love. Honestly.
Okay.
Started when I was a little bitty. I mean, I'm talking 3-4 years old. You know, Dad taking me to the river, the lake. We do family reunions. I just fished. That's just all that's just what I did. And when I got out of football, playing wise, that's when I really started fishing real heavy. So I like to fish tournaments. I like to compete. So I kind of got out of that competitive world of playing and just jumped into the competitive world of fishing. So
Okay.
it kind of kept my competitive juices flowing, I guess, is
Okay.
to say it. But yeah, I love it. So every chance I get in this job, taking this job, that was actually one of the things we were weighing, you know, like it was going to cut into my fishing. So when I was, you know, before I came back into the coaching world, the year before that, because I had to log all my days and all that stuff and tax purposes and stuff. But
Sure.
I was on the water like 158 days a year.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a big part of my life. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and you've got what do we have up here on your hat today?
Yeah,
Is it a bass?
Yeah, it's a bass. It's actually a golfing hat, but I saw the fish, the largemouth on there, so I was like, I got to get that.
That's a cool
good
hat. So is that what you fish? Is that
yeah,
your primary?
strictly largemouth, smallmouth, just bass.
Okay.
Bass fish. Yeah.
So I saw a thing that happened earlier this year, or maybe late last year, where there were guys that were putting like metal pellets or whatever to weigh it down to win. Have you seen any cheating go on in any of your tournaments before? Is that like really a thing?
It's
other
a
than
thing.
that?
Yeah, it's a thing. I'm surprised those guys got out of there alive, honestly. But yeah, I've seen it, not to that level and in a tournament of that nature, but I've fished some really big tournaments and made 100, team tournaments, and we've done really good. And we've been sitting in the top, 1 or 2 of those before. And they do lie detector tests. I've had to do them, and it's actually nerve-wracking.
Like they hook it up to your...
Yeah, they pulled us to the side and said, okay, you're going to do a lie detector test. And they stuck us in this little hut, really cold, dark. They put this little band around me. They had stuff on my fingers. They had a camera here. They had one of those the sensors when you're sitting down.
Oh, wow.
They went through the gamut of the rules, and it was pretty crazy.
What does the cold do? Is that part of it? It was a cold day.
I think they needed a dark room away from everything. And
wow.
But yeah, every time they asked you a question, you could feel your heart going real fast. Whoa. And I felt like I was lying every question.
Yeah.
And I even told him that. He's like, good. He's like, if you're good at these, that's a problem.
Right. No, absolutely. So what did they cheat with? Is it metal, or is it like they feed it
those
fish?
guys did. They took big egg sinkers, like 1 pound egg sinkers, and were shoving them. And that was a walleye tournament, so they were a little bit bigger fish. You could kind of get away with it. But there's I've seen people put fish in a basket and mark the basket and go back and get them. And yeah, it's
okay. But the night before.
Yeah, or the weekend before, or whatever.
Wow.
They'll put them in a basket, and they'll. But those are the guys that usually get caught. But.
Okay. All right, guys. Today we are here with Coach Cale Sanders. Once again, we appreciate you guys for checking out the podcast. We are finished with our bye week, moving into Alamogordo week, right? On the road, district opener. What can we expect going into Alamogordo, and is your team thinking brand new season, day one starts now?
I hope that's what they're believing, because that's kind of what we've been preaching. So bye weeks are good and bad, right? So the first week we went pretty hard the first 3 days, and then we kind of backed off of them, gave them the weekend off, let them rest up, and had an okay week. And then we had 3 days of rest, and we came back Monday, and we went pretty hard on them. Like, we did a lot of situational stuff, a lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of full speed, full tackle, full go drills, and
Sure.
Probably the best 2 days of practices we've had all year. I don't know if that's good or bad. People talk about, like we didn't have a very good week of practice for Goddard, and we came out playing really good. But for me, I like to see it. Our kids had emotion. They were flying around. We even had a couple scuffles, which, You know,
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna say it's not a horrible thing because
It's a passion
Yeah,
thing, right?
absolutely. It wasn't like a thug fight at lunch. It
Right,
wasn't
yeah.
like that. It was kids getting after it, going hard. And I think that's good. It sparked them up, and kids are excited. Energy was there, so I'm really looking forward to see what we do Thursday night because it's been good.
Yeah, do you get buyback from your players? I'd imagine that halfway through the season, sometimes it's like you see guys start to kind of, I don't know, how would I say it, like dive off a little bit more.
Yeah.
How do you get them, reel them back in and go, guys, this is a family thing, we got to be in?
Absolutely. It's funny you say that because we actually had this exact conversation today in the field
Really?
house. And we do have a couple that are doing that. And that was what we talked about in the coaches staff is, how do we get those kids back in and re-engage? Because, it's halfway through the year. They're kind of seeing the writing on the wall. They may be a JV kid, or they may just be a kid that's not getting a lot of time, and they're servicing us. They're running scout team. They're doing that kind of stuff. So, the energy, the want to, it's just not there. They just kind of slack off during film and stuff like that. So that was our conversation. How do we get those guys back in? And it's one of those things where you just you stress what their job is in the program, and I always tell them work while you wait. And to me, work while you wait means, if you're a scout teamer, give me 1,000%. That's your contribution. So
Right.
on Friday night when we run a play and it breaks for 60 and, Yulee takes it to the house, like that scout team defensive end was like, hey, I had a part to do with that because I gave that offense a really good look during the week and they knew what to expect. And then you just got to, they just got to know their place and work while you wait. Do that. And that's where we're going to find kids too. And I actually brought it up today in a meeting. Sonora, our offensive guard, he'll play some defensive tackle this week too. But he was kind of off the radar, and he was on the scout team last year, and we couldn't block him. He was eating our lunch, and I'm like, holy cow! Like, dude, who is this kid? Like, I knew who he was, but like,
Right.
where's he coming from? Like, let's put him over here. And he actually started the last half of the season like that.
Wow.
So, scout teams are where we find a lot of kids, so they need to take that pretty serious and go hard. And I mean, a lot of times that's the only chance we really get to evaluate those kids. Unfortunately, it's on the other side of the ball or whatever. But the energy, the effort, and if you're going to do that, like, we'll find a place for you. We'll find where you fit in.
And it's nice to have somebody that you can point to and say, hey, you can relate to this because
Absolutely.
he's literally right here in front of you. We've seen it happen.
Absolutely.
So that is really cool. All right, so Alamogordo, what can we expect from the team that we're playing first in district?
Now, Alamogordo, they're, I've talked to several people, and the way I can describe it is they're a lot like Clovis. They got some size. The quarterback's back from last year. He's a pretty big dude. He's going to run around. He flings the ball real well. He doesn't have the receiver core he had last year, but, running back's good. He's probably their best athlete. He's a two-way guy. He plays corner too. We got to bottle him up. They're going to try to run power and some GT stuff at us, and they're going to try to throw it around a little bit. But their big thing is they want to run the ball. They're up-tempo. They're real quick. They're, play every 8 seconds. So, we actually practiced, tempo this week and getting those guys ready. I think Coach Weiner's done a good job of getting them all ready. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough team. It's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. So when I say they are a lot like Clovis, they're a game that I feel like we should walk away with a victory.
Okay.
But in the same breath, I say if we come out and we make mistakes and we are inconsistent and we do all the mistakes that we've done in the past, that we're going to be in the same boat. So,
okay.
Just keep the kids, wound up and don't overlook anybody. There's no one left that we can overlook.
A Thursday game, it's a different vibe, right? I mean, you come back, you guys go to school on Friday. It's a weird feeling for some of these kids. How do you, approach that?
Just like normal, and it's nice that we had the bye week prior, so we don't have that short week. So we actually could still work and have our schedule and have a true blue walkthrough on Wednesday now instead of Thursday. So, as coaches wise and prep wise, it's only thing difference is it's a different day on the calendar. Prep wise, it's the same, but it's going to be weird because they got school the next day. It's Alamogordo's 3 hours from here, so it's going to be a little bit of a trip, So we just treat it normal. I mean, these guys have faced adversity all year long when it comes to travel. Part of me likes that. You know,
Yeah.
I like the fact that we've had to overcome speed bumps throughout the year. I mean, it just builds character, and so we've had a lot of them, and I don't think anything can rattle them as far as that. Like nothing big.
Sure. Players on your team that you might say, you know, you're looking to spark everything coming into district. Is there anybody that maybe has come up and surprised you lately?
You know, we've done some rearranging. We got some old lineman guys that we've kind of moved around and switched around a little bit. You know, some guys were stepping up and some guys were not doing what we needed them to do. And so we've kind of put some people in some positions to push. You know, it's always, you know, if you don't have anybody behind you pushing, you get comfortable. And so we've done that at a lot of positions. We kind of opened up that 2 platoon a little bit and said, okay, we're going to take some offensive guys. You're going to go play defensive line. We're going to take some defensive linemen. You're going to go play offense. And I think it's sparked a little bit of that energy of the week. And we've had a bye week, and it's a good week to do that. And so yeah, it's just like normal. Like it's one of those things that I think the competition is going to bring out the best in our kids. So.
Going into football season when I was in high school, there was a thing called Cavemen Dads. Is that something that's still around, or did that go away years ago?
I've heard of it, but it's not something that we've done.
Okay.
And I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know where it went or how it went. But yeah, there's some stuff that's around. Decals with Dads is a really cool deal. I kind of want to bring that in. And
you said decals
with Dad. So it's like the first week of the season. You know, you bring your dad or grandpa or whoever that male figure is in your life, and if you don't have one, we'll find one for you. And I want to bring the kids in, and you know, you feed them dinner, and you know, maybe have someone talk, and then you know, as a father or dad, you decorate your helmet with all of our decals and your numbers, and so I think that's cool. I've seen several programs do that. I think it's really cool. I've also seen have you seen the one where the moms get the pads on and they
have seen that.
I kind of
that's like at a younger level, right?
No, it's high school.
Oh.
Yeah, it's high school. So.
And they lay out their sons on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so freshman class due for big success. What's so exciting about them?
It's hard to say one thing. Like, first of all, just the sheer numbers. You know, we're pushing 60 kids.
Oh, okay.
And that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That's an attest to those kids and loving the game and falling in love early. And, you know, you're not losing kids. And we're going to lose kids. There's going to be attrition from 8th grade to freshman and then freshmen. So, you know, it's going to fall. That's why you need big numbers, right? That's why you need 60 every year in that freshman class. And then, you know, by the time they're seniors, you still have 30 to 40 of them. You know, that's
right.
kind of the goal, right? But that group, they do everything right. And to grant me, they're freshmen. They do a lot of silly stuff. But,
sure.
They do stuff right. They work together. They're a crazy aggressive group too. Like it's not just full of athletes, but it's got that really good mix of some really good athletes and then just a whole bunch of that. I call them that 18 through 40 players, and those are the guys you win football games with. It's not the top guys. It's that second group, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of them in that group, and I wouldn't say there's just like one or two studs. I mean, there's just an all well-rounded group, and they play well together. And Coach Flores down there have done a really good job of teaching him the caveman way and how we do stuff. And of course, we have our growing pains with that, but they're freshmen, so
yeah.
But so far they're doing really good. So I'm proud of that group. I hope they stick together. I tell them all the time that's the group that's going to get me a raise. So. Keep it up. Yeah, they did good. They had Roswell High last week, and they won that game 13-0. So they've had some adversity too, and so they've handled that well. So it's a really good group. I'm excited for them, and I'm more excited for them to get mixed in with what we have.
Sure.
We were at practice the other day, and it was an afternoon practice right after school, and so the freshmen came with us. So we had all I call them the Smurfs because they wear blue.
Okay.
I call them the Smurfs. But they were practicing with us, and all the varsity kids were there, and there was just kids everywhere. I mean, I was like, golly, there's kids everywhere.
Yeah.
But you think about it, we have 70 varsity kids, and there were 60, I was like 130 kids out there. And Coach Millar walked by me and kind of nudged me, and he goes, this is your football team next year minus 10 people. And I was like, holy cow! That, like, when he said that, it sunk in. Like, holy cow, we're gonna have. And that's how you build a program.
Yeah.
And then that just keeps stacking on top of each other and stacking on top of each other. And that group actually this year, for the first time in years, we've had a B team schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's 60 kids, and, there's 11 of them playing at one time. So we don't want to lose those kids. And,
right.
Moms and daddies are going to be like, my little baby didn't get to play. But
Mm-hmm.
there's probably a reason for that. But that B team schedule allows everyone to get reps, and we can truly evaluate all those kids and get everybody bought in. And, it's not that way when you get to the next two levels. But,
Mm-hmm.
It's good to keep the teeth in them and keep them in the program. Because
Sure.
we need them.
Yeah,
we need
absolutely.
every one of them.
One of the big things about young athletes in today's climate, I guess, is watching people, at the next level, whether it's college, pros, whatever. They like to see what they're wearing, right? It's like, this is cool. This is the visors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of the band equipment that kids love, but you just can't wear anymore? Is there stuff that is out? Because I haven't seen cowboy collars in a long time.
No.
I haven't seen dark visors.
No.
I'd imagine they're gone.
So the visor deal, there's a rule. It has to be a clear visor.
Okay.
So our kids still wear them at practice, but they take them off, and because it still gives them that cool feeling.
Sure.
Like they're Dark
LaDainian
Vader.
Thomason,
Yeah.
dude.
The old vampire, the old cowboy collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you don't see very many of them around anymore, but I love those things.
But they're not banned.
No, they're not
Oh.
banned. You can still wear those.
Okay.
Yeah, you can still wear those. But yeah, that and it's just according. Sometimes we get refs that are, you can't wear the wristbands, or and then we get another group of refs that are like, yeah, we don't care. Like,
Sure.
So it kind of depends. But yeah, they got kids want the sleeves and the
Yeah.
leg, and they got the socks that are all wrinkled up that look all pretty. And we have a pretty solid dress code. If it's, you can have a tights, but it's blue or white, and that's it.
Sure.
Nothing special. And we've got the pink game coming up, and I think we spoke to that. But for the pink game is, you get that one wristband, and it's
Yeah.
pink, and you put it wherever you want, and that's how it goes. So, I'm just not a big fan of, someone, taking themselves and making it about themselves or what they look like. It's a team sport. And
Yeah.
I want everyone to look the same. If it was up to me, it would be old school Penn State, just blue with white numbers. Nothing on the helmet, but there's got to be a little bit of sparkles and raz. And so.
Do they get to have that in their cleats, or is it kind of
The cleats there's a rule on cleats too. It's white, black, or blue.
okay?
And we've even had some kids come, and they got like little pink tips on the end of the. I'm like, no, like white, black, or blue. Everyone's the same. You're not special. So it just,
I like that.
Yeah, I think it doesn't get that. Look at me. It gets that out of your program.
Mm-hmm.
We over me, right?
Right.
So.
Exactly. Miami, Denver. I don't know if you saw the final score there. It was an absolute massacre on a football field. 70-20 was the final score. We talked about respecting our opponents,
Yeah.
right? You don't, you can put your foot on their throat, but it's in a way that's more predictable as a player. We're not messing around and doing trick plays and stuff like that. At the pro level,
I know where you're going with this.
do you go ahead and say, I'm breaking the record? 72 is the record. I just need a field goal. I'm breaking the record for most. I think it's most points in a game by a pro team. And they didn't do it.
We talked about this too. And I think if it's at that level, you have so many incentives and like
True.
personal stuff. Like if it's a personal record, say like that wide receiver needed one more catch or one more touchdown pass for, whatever the NFL record. I think you go ahead and get it if it's a personal record.
Okay.
Team record, I don't think so. And I think he did a good job. He didn't get it, right?
He didn't get it.
I don't know if he had the chance to do it or not, but
I think he had a field goal. He ran out the clock.
Yeah. So I respect that. And I watched part of it. I watched the red zone, because I was at the field house, and I just put the little red zone deal, and it just pops around to different games, and it would just pop up. So it didn't look like they were doing, trick plays or, kicking onside or anything like that. They were just beating them.
Winning.
Yeah, they were just winning. Yeah, they were just winning. It kind of Sean Payton didn't appreciate it too much.
No, I'm sure he didn't.
Yeah.
But that was kind of one of the things that I wanted to kind of point to too, is if it is about, you know, accolades and stuff like that, you get to be in history forever if you hit that mark, and he just didn't go that far. So I wanted your take on that. We talk about Colorado being one of the biggest stories in college. NFL, what's your favorite story right now in the league? Do you have one?
Let me think on that. I mean, Miami's kind of one of them. They're kind of, you know, they're coming out, and that, you know, what's his name, Coach? Is it Coach Michaels or?
It is
not Daniels.
Mick something. Yeah.
He looks like he's 12.
Yeah.
And so he was with Shanahan and those guys, and he felt like he was never going to get, so he had to get out from underneath that umbrella, and he got out, and I guess he got his chance, and man, he's doing really cool things. And I saw a really cool interview the other day. It was talking to some of his players, and he says that the reason why they're so innovative and they're exploding and doing so much offensive good things is they're coaching everything backwards. Okay. So if normally in a football world there's kind of rules, like if you run GT and you're going to down this side, you're going to pull these two guys and you give the ball from here to there. Like he's teaching everything backwards, and it's breaking all the rules is basically what it's doing. And everyone's like, "This is crazy. This is not going to work." And then they start doing it, and he starts getting success, and the people are. So he's and the defenses are taught. This is what happens when the offense does this, and he's going completely opposite of it. And I think that's why he's having a lot of success. That and Tariq Hill's pretty good.
Yeah, no, he's kind of fast.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So.
Yeah, and so he's kind of attributing it to a genius.
Yeah, I think it's a great offensive mind. I think he's approaching stuff different, and football's cyclable or whatever you want to say. But you see the old school double wing, wishbone, run the ball, and then someone comes out, Walsh with the 49ers throwing the ball around the West Coast offense, and then everything shifted to the West Coast offense. So now we're in this whole stage of like throwing the ball, airing it out, and spreading the field. And now if somebody comes in and starts pounding the ball, you look at San Francisco. They're really good at running the ball outside zone, inside zone. And then you'll probably see a shift back into running the ball. It just goes back and forth, and what's ever hot that year or two. It's a copycat league, right? So if there's success somewhere, then people start to follow. And I really like what he's doing. I haven't really looked at a lot of stuff. I saw that one that they scored on the end zone, and it was the fake 360 and ran the counter gap back the other way. It's just like it's really cool stuff.
Yeah. So one of the most successful coaches in the NFL right now is Andy Reid, right? Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs. He used to coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had his success. One of the things that I had seen was that he takes plays everywhere. He even attributed a touchdown play to a custodian that was on staff at one of his facilities at one point, which is really cool. Do you take plays and ideas from different teams from around the state?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I watch film and I see stuff and I'm like, hey, that's really good. So there's a fine line there though, because when I see something, I'm like, that's really cool, but it doesn't fit what we do or it doesn't fit our scheme.
Right.
But then you see stuff like, hey, that guy runs inside zone and then they do this naked boot off of it and this is the concept. So I'm like, that fits what we do, and I'll try to incorporate it. Okay. And so Andy Reid's really cool. I don't know if you've heard that their little think tank that they have or whatever, where all the players they can make up plays and they work on them all week long, and there's a period like on Thursday where they get to show him the play, and he has 51% vote on if they get to put it in or not. Sure. And so I think a lot of that, ring around the rosy stuff that they do, I think that comes from the players. Wow. And he just says, okay, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to let my guys do that or not.
Right. That might be a little
a little much.
They're going to have a lot. They don't have much time on their hands to do stuff like that.
They'll figure something crazy out. I'll probably like it, though. That's the problem.
That sounds like SNL. I don't know if you've heard how they do their process, but they throw sketches out and they practice, and they're like, that's not going to hit. That's not going to hit. And that's kind of what it's like, but in football form. That's pretty sweet.
It's pretty cool. And he's been successul. I mean, Mahomes and those guys help. But, he's won everywhere he goes.
The biggest story in NFL right now, Taylor Swift. Oh. Taylor Swift. Do you think that you've seen – I mean, obviously you see it in the NFL or whatever. At the high school level, do you see your boys getting distracted at times for, stuff that's off the field, and how do you redirect them
Absolutely.
if you've seen it.
Absolutely, they get distracted.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're
That was a hard
something
yes.
shiny, and they go over there, like, or you see it a lot. And we were dealing with young adults, and they don't know how to handle a lot of stuff. And our kids deal with some stuff that grown adults haven't ever had to deal with. When we have kids that are paying rent, and and they have some life lessons. So yeah, we get kids that go in the off the deep end sometimes, and it's just, unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast and the population we live in, and I feel bad for those kids. Yeah, so they get distracted. So I just try to tell them, like, when you're at football, man, check your baggage at the door. Come give me an hour, 2 hours of the best that you got. And then, as a family, the team, the coaches, all the parents, everyone that loves on these kids and feeds them and do all that stuff, like, we're here for you no matter what,
Yeah.
And I could go on and on and on about countless stories of how, our football community helps each other. But, some of our kids have some pretty tough stuff they deal with. I'm just I can't believe he's 15 years old dealing with what he's dealing with and still doing what he does and still has a great attitude, or, it's pretty crazy. So, some people forget that, right? So, football's, it's cool, but sometimes it's bigger than football.
Yeah, some of these kids are super inspiring,
Absolutely.
even as adults.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I could tell you stories and you'd be like, I would never have guessed it.
Yeah.
It's some of these kids go through the ringer and back, and they are great kids.
All right, Coach, thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Appreciate it. Guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. And we are sponsored today by Tate Branch. And thanks for listening.